Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. Good to have you.
Thanks, Chris.
The Trump administration seems to be suggesting the following. You were weak. The Obama administration was weak. Our foreign allies and our adversaries knew it, and they took advantage. I am strong, and I will lay the groundwork for our supremacy, and then they will do what we say. Do you believe that that is the right approach and that it is working?
I don't think it's accurate or the right approach, and frankly, I think it goes beyond that, Chris. It's not just our enemies took advantage of America, but if you listen to the president's statements at the prayer breakfast yesterday, everyone in the world was taking advantage of America. They were all playing America for the fool. We're the victim of an international conspiracy of friend and foe alike. This, I think, explains why he had such a hostile interaction with the Australian Prime Minister, one of our dearest friends. So I think his worldview is actually far darker than that. But this is also, I think, a trend we're seeing in the early days of this administration, which is blame everything on the last guy that was in the office. That kind of thing is only going to last so long. They really have to take responsibility for their own foreign policy. And I don't think merely talking tough with our friends as well as our enemies, everyone except Putin apparently, is a very good strategy.
Well, you just had Nikki Haley, following through on their thought. It is that they're setting the ground rules that America is not joking around anymore. Nikki Haley goes into the UN and says, Russia, until you get out of the Crimean Peninsula, we're going to keep the sanctions in effect. That's tough talk. Saying about Ukraine, the new violence there, that's a concern for us. This country has been quiet on Ukraine. There's been some talk, but not enough action. John McCain now asking for the weapons that the Obama administration would not give to Kiev to defend itself. That could be an opportunity to be stronger, no?
Absolutely, and I would say that Nikki Haley's statement was probably the best statement of the administration thus far. Now, admittedly, it's a pretty short list. But yes, I like everything about what she said. There's still a question, though, about whether the president really subscribes to that policy. And at the same time she was making that statement, the administration was sending a different signal to Russia by a small relaxation of the sanctions on Russia. Now, that was a symbolic measure, largely technical measure, but the symbolism, I think, was exactly in the wrong direction. So what does that mean? Does that mean that we're following the Nikki Haley policy, or does that mean that Donald Trump still thinks that Russia is our friend? I would love to see us pass legislation to provide weapons to the Ukraine, to the leaders in Ukraine, to provide for their own defense. It's something I advocated during the Obama administration. I disagreed with during the Obama administration. Will the president support that policy? That has yet to be seen. I'd like to see the president say a few of the things that Nikki Haley said.
Another thing for you to chew on for us this morning. You said that the president had a tough call with the Prime Minister of Australia. I agree with that. The reporting supports it. Administration officials back it up. The president put out a tweet this morning calling that fake news. One of his counselors referenced as an attack of the existing refugee policies and vetting in the United States. Massacre in Bowling Green, that never happened. And called out a ban for 6 months of Iraqi refugees. That never happened. How do you deal with those types of bold-face inaccuracies?
Well, that's exactly what they are. Apparently, according to the Trump administration, fake news is synonymous with any bad press they get. So if they get bad press, it's fake. At the same time, they demonstrated a ready willingness to invent facts at will. Certainly, Kellyanne Conway's talking about a non-existent massacre in Bowling Green, and I love how on social media people are saying, where were you when this event never took place? And then you have, frankly, the falsifier-in-chief, Donald Trump himself, perpetuating this fabrication that millions of undocumented immigrants voted in the election. You couldn't have something more supremely false than that. That was the single most disturbing thing in the early days after the election, that the president would put out this fiction. So I think you just have to confront it, and I want to applaud you, and I want to applaud the media that are not going to normalize this propagation of patently false information coming out of the White House. They are trying to bully everyone, including the media, and they're trying to set different media outlets against each other, and I think it's very destructive.
You know, there's a bigger problem. You know, there's an old adage: you can't convince somebody of the truth if they are intent on believing a lie. And I think part of the problem here is political. The base that got Donald Trump elected does not like you. They don't like your party. They don't like what you represent. And they would rather believe him in the hope that he will make their life better. So they will support him, even when they don't believe what he's saying, because they don't like you. How can you win these people back? They matter.
Well, they absolutely matter. Look, there are going to be some people that can't be won over. You're right. They are going to believe whatever this president says because they want to believe it. I don't think you can persuade those people, but those aren't the majority even of Trump voters. The vast majority of people, I think, that voted for Donald Trump voted for him because they were worried about the economy. They were worried about the fact that they weren't living the life that they had hoped and expected, and they had even less prospects for their kids. Those are people we can talk to. Those are people we need to talk to. Those are not people, I think, that are ready to believe anything merely because Donald Trump says it. So I think, you know, we have to continue to call out this administration when they're saying things that are patently untrue. I think we have to speak to the people we didn't speak to in the campaign, and I think, frankly, these ought to be natural Democratic voters. When you look at the actions of the administration, all the Wall Street people they're filling these positions with, the fact that they want to roll back the Dodd-Frank regulations that got us into that horrendous recession and really jeopardize people's economic futures, we are the party that do represent those voters. And we didn't make the case in the election. We're going to have to do better.
Got to offer better, not just oppose. Always good to have you with us, Congressman. Look forward to seeing you again.